welcome to a video for SAP Business One, where we're going to be walking through a workflow from a purchase order all the way through to payment. Now, purchase order can be found under the menu, under Purchasing, and Purchase Order. And it's going to launch a document like you see here. And this is a blank document. So what we're going to do is we're going to start by adding a vendor. So I'm going to choose a vendor here, and then we're going to add some items. So let's say I want these 3 items. And let's say I want a quantity of 10, a quantity of 20, and a quantity of 30. And I'm going to set my unit prices as well. I do know that I'm going to need a tax code here as we work through the process, so I'm just going to fill that one in with an exempt tax code there. And now it's all filled out. And the idea behind this is that we are going to put this into our inventory. So as we get further down the line in our system with a goods receipt as the next step, it's going to add 10 to our current inventory to be able to sell and use in the system. Now throughout the system here, we're going to be using a copy to function, which I'll show you here. So let's add this purchase order, and we have an open purchase order in the system now. And there's some functionality in the system to copy to or copy from. So if I was in a goods receipt as the next logical step here, I could identify this same vendor, and it will give me a list of open purchase orders if I selected copy from. But for the remainder of the scenario, we're going to be copying to and moving through. So we have our open purchase order. Next step would be a goods receipt. So now here we have our goods receipt. So this is actually adding inventory into the system, accepting it into a location in the system here. So I have 10, 20, and 30. Now I do have the ability before adding this to adjust these quantities. So let's say I didn't get all of everything. I could adjust this down to say I got 5, and what that would do is on the purchase order it would leave 5 still open. It wouldn't close the purchase order out completely. And then I could come back at a later time and accept the rest of those 5 there. But for right now, let's say we ordered all these and we received everything that we ordered. So we'll leave our goods receipt here. Now we're going to add this to the system. And now we've accepted 10, 20, and 30 into our inventory. And we have an open goods receipt. Now, next step to that would be to create an invoice off of that. So we're going to copy to again. We'll copy to an AP invoice. Here's our invoice. We'll add this now. So now we have an AP invoice in the system. And the next step here would be to do a payment. So we can do this a couple different ways. The first way is to go into the actual invoice itself, click on the payment means icon, and it will launch payment means for this specific invoice. Now I'll show you momentarily here the second way, but you can also go to Outgoing Payments, which is also launched in here, and put in that vendor, and it will show you all the documents that need to be paid, and you could select one or multiple. But for right now, here's our payment means for this particular invoice, and we have options here. We could do a check, we could do a bank transfer, we could mark it as a credit card, or we could do it as cash. Check, we would need to set up banks and setup here. So if we had banks set up in the system, we could do that to send it out by check and print that check. Yeah, we could do bank transfer here. If we had credit cards set up in the system, we could use those. For this scenario, let's use cash. And I'm just going to pick an account here. And I'm going to put in how much I want to pay. And let's say I'm going to pay the full amount. That's been applied now, and when we hit add, that's been added to the system. So what happens whenever we add a payment to the system? It closes out our invoice. This needs to be refreshed, so I'm going to go back to that, refresh it, and now our invoice is closed. To show you the process from the beginning to end here, I'm going to go to a relationship map, and we can look at everything from start to finish. So we can see that we started with our purchase order, goods receipt, invoice, and payment. Thank you for watching this video. As always, please reach out to us here at Support One with any questions. Click on the link to subscribe for more content.